Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of NihongoShiki. Oh, you probably can't hear a single word I'm saying with this thing on. Japanese culture lesson. I'm recovering from a cold, so I literally have to wear one of those pretty much by social contract, because it's Japan. Anyway, welcome to another episode of NihongoShiki Extra, where we cover the things that I didn't necessarily cover before because I was biding my time and avoiding biting the bullet and explaining things I didn't want to have to get into. But now that I get enough questions about it, I will answer them for you. So this time we're going to talk about how to form the subject, as it were, bearing in mind, of course, that the word subject in Japanese grammar means a very different thing than it does in English grammar. You'll kind of see what I'm talking about. The more accurate way to say this is how to make this first part of a sentence in Japanese. We've got three basic particles to do this with. We've got wa, ga, and mo. First off, yes, I'm aware that this is the hiragana for ha. Under most circumstances, you would read this as ha. However, when it is acting as the topic particle, you read it as wa. It's an old, antiquated Japanese thing that still hangs around. That just bear with it. Just go with it. It's wa. Just accept it. Okay, so let's talk about that one first. As I said, wa is our topic marker. Honestly, in a lot of beginners' Japanese textbooks, you'll constantly see this watashi wa, something wa, something wa, something wa. In actual Japanese spoken here, we don't really do this commonly. The reason for that is that Japanese is a very efficient language until you get into the formal polite speech. But for the sake of efficiency, we often completely drop the subject. As in, this bit, we just don't even say. Because it cannot, especially in the case of watashi wa or watashi ga, you can safely assume if the person's talking about themselves. You can use context often to ascertain what the subject is. So oftentimes, we just drop it. We just don't say it. That's why I haven't covered this before in my other ones. I've just been saying, skip that, don't worry about it, because we don't really use it. Anyway, if we're going to use it, we put it here at the start of a sentence like this. Watashi wa gakusei desu. I am a student. Literally, very literally translated, this means, as for me, I am a student. That's a common literal translation you'll see. We use this particle when we want to either A, clarify a topic, oh no, we're totes talking about this right now. Or if we're changing topics, and we were talking about Bob a second ago, but now we're talking about me, I would clarify that and say Bob ga demo watashi ga. I do something else. I'm different. This is a new thing we're talking about now. That's pretty much the main cases you'll hear it in spoken Japanese. So yeah, once you've used this, once you've established that we're talking about watashi wa, you can safely leave out this part of the sentence until you want to change topics again. It's pretty nice that way. Okay, so moving on, we've then got this ga, which is called the subject particle. Again, I told you, subject does not necessarily mean what you think it means as far as English grammar would go. A lot of people also refer to this as the identifying particle instead of the subject particle in order to forego this exact misconstruing. Ga is what you use to answer kind of a silent question. As in, if we're asking a literal question of clarification, we'd use dare ga gakusei desu ka? Who is the student? Because it's identifying. We want some sort of information about a subject that we don't have. It doesn't necessarily have to be used in a question. This subject particle is used both as a clarification of a subject. Dare ga gakusei desu ka? Oh, well, watashi wa or watashi ga gakusei desu. You can also use this ga in terms of clarifying a property or like identifying a property of something. For instance, you would say, 車が青いです. The car is blue. Because we're not, we're just identifying a property of the car. This is a little confusing to explain. If you look on Tai Kim's grammar guide, you can see a much more expanded explanation of the difference between these two particles. But, for example, to contrast, you can't say, 誰は学生ですか? Because that gets you a sentence like, is who a student? As for who, are they a student? That sounds dumb in English, it sounds dumb in Japanese, because it's wrong. You don't do that. You don't use wa in that case. So we use ga instead. But we could totally answer, babu wa gakusei desu. Okay? So I know that that's a little confusing, but hopefully that helps a little bit more. In summary, wa, establishing a new topic of conversation. Ga, clarifying something about the pre-established topic. Hopefully that helps a little bit more. Lastly, the last one is very simple. Don't even worry about it. The last one is mo. So this mo is used for also. It means that whatever topic, subject, whatever we're talking about, this is also a thing. So like, watashi mo gakusei desu. So like if you've said, I'm a student, I can say, watashi mo. Like, yeah, me too. That sort of thing. In a full sentence, this would read watashi mo gakusei desu, or I am also a student. If I just say, watashi mo, that means, yeah, me too, me too, me too. You'll hear a lot in Japanese conversation, like, something mo, something mo. Oh yeah, like that too, that too, that too. It has that same feeling in English, that too, that too. But yeah, those are the three main ways you can form the beginning part of Japanese sentence. Obviously there's a few more, but these are the main three that you're going to deal with as a beginning Japanese student. If you have any more questions about this topic, like I said, check out Tai Kim's grammar guide. I'll put a link to that in the description when I get home. And you can also leave a comment or a question down below. I'm very sorry about my voice this time. As I said, I'm recovering from a cold, so the throat's still getting over that. Anyway, I hope this helps, and mata ne!